This movie starts in Georgia. We are following Keanu Reeves, who plays a small town lawyer. He's in trial with a kind of chubby, creepy looking dude who's being charged of molesting a kid. I guess he's her teacher or something. And Keanu Reeves is the person who is supposed to be defending him. Um, at some point we learn that this guy is actually guilty. But Keanu Reeves, well, it's kind of nebulous. He's not like overtly guilty, but Keanu Reeves suspects him of being guilty of this molestation crime. But he chooses to ignore this so that he can continue to defend him and win the trial. He hates losing. Um, So he does. He defends him and he wins the trial. The molester goes free. It's this big case in the state of Georgia. Keanu Reeves is married to Charlize Theron. Oh, by the way, I don't remember one single character name in this entire movie. So I'm just going to call them by their actors' names. Keanu Reeves is married to Charlize Theron, and she's all like, "We did it, baby," because they're Georgian. They have accents. She's like, "We did it, baby. We beat the fucking system or something." And and he's all like, "Thanks, babe." And and yeah, there's like it's this big deal. Reporters and everyone's there. So he gets this invite to go to New York City to see a bigger law firm because he won this trial and it was like national news or something. And so he goes to New York City and he meets with the president or CEO of this law firm or head lawyer. I don't know what the head of a law firm is called. The president lawyer, um, played by Al Pacino. Um, and Al Pacino's like, "I could give you good things. I could." My Al Pacino's terrible. I could give you everything you wanted. So, he talks it over with his wife. Keanu talks it over with his wife, and they decide to move to New York and join this guy's law firm. But almost immediately, things start to get a little weird. This guy, um, he seems to have it all. This lawyer, this president lawyer guy, Al Pacino, seems to have it all. He lives at the top of this high rise. He's having three ways with these like chicks and stuff, and he's got it all under control. But there's something about him and the way he does business that just seems a little bit off. We're just kind of dipping our toes into what is going to be revealed later in the movie. I don't think I'm giving a spoiler here. The movie's called The Devil's Advocate. Fucking Al Pacino is the devil. So, like Satan. So, he needs, he runs this law firm, and Keanu Reeves gets a job there. So, he starts having to do these cases for him. And each case, it gets progressively, he's got to compromise his morals more and more, Keanu Reeves. Like, I don't. One of the cases involves some like voodoo guy killing a goat or something. I don't know what that has to do with the devil, but I don't know. Maybe he was satanic voodoo or something. I don't know. Some fucking Haitian dude kills a goat. Keanu Reeves defends him. He gets off. Then Craig T. Nelson kills his wife after having an affair or something like that, and Keanu Reeves has to defend him too. And he straight up finds out that he is like guilty, and Al Pacino's like, "You can't win them all." He sounds like an old Jewish man when I do it. "You can't win them all." Um, try this Al Pacino again. "Hey, you can't win them all." So that's what he keeps saying to him. He keeps giving Keanu Reeves these outs because the devil, he fucking gets in your head, right? Like he's not going to tell you what to do because that's not how it works. That's not how devils and angels work. They don't tell you what to do. They can only kind of influence you. And the devil keeps giving Keanu Reeves an out, telling him he can't win them all. But Keanu Reeves has got this thing about losing. He just doesn't want to lose a case. So, even though Craig T. Nelson killed his wife, he fucking defends him, and Craig T. Nelson gets off. Meanwhile, though, while this is all going on, and Keanu Reeves is kind of falling down this hole of, I don't know, getting in line with the devil, his wife, Charlize Theron, is having issues being in New York. Like, it starts when she's like, they get this nice high rise and shit, and she's painting it, and she wants to have a baby. She goes, like, clothes shopping with some other guy in the firm's wife, and when she's putting on a shirt, this other chick, her face, like, turns into this fucking demon face. And Charlize Theron's like, oh my god, I think I'm seeing things. But she is seeing things, but also she's seeing, like, the truth. These people have compromised themselves to work for this company, to work for this lawyer firm. So she, what's it called? So yeah, she starts feeling weird, and then Keanu Reeves comes home one day, and she's like, I want to have a baby. So they, so they start having sex, and Keanu Reeves is having this weird vision while they're having sex, because there's some other chick that works for the law firm, this like curly redhead chick, who's like hot, and he's like thinking about her while he's having sex with his wife. And then they have sex, and then she's like crying. She's like, something's wrong with my insides. I can't have babies. Because I guess, part of her deal of selling the soul to Satan was that, like, he's taking her uterus or something. Anyway, she's in this dark descent. She changes her hair. She had, like, blonde, curly hair, and then she gets dark hair, and, I guess that's metaphor for, changing her insides or something. So she's in this dark descent down some fucking path. But Keanu Reeves, he's not really helping her. He's getting annoyed by her because he's like, oh, I've got a big case. Well, it's not really good Keanu Reeves either. He's like, I've got a big case, man, and I can't be dealing with your woman issues. And so, he fucking ignores her, and she's like kind of in this downward spiral. Okay, so at some point she's like, kills herself. She's like in this church, and she rips off her fucking robe because he's like, has been ignoring her. She's all cut up because she's been like mutilating herself, and then she takes a shard of broken mirror and cuts her own throat off, and he's got this like blood. He's got her blood all over him. I think this is like kind of getting towards the climax of the movie. And the whole while, like, Al Pacino's been fucking with him. Not necessarily fucking with him, but like, it's just getting more and more intense. Like, this guy is the devil, and he's getting more devilish. It seems sort of attractive. He seems sort of, not physically attractive, but he's, this lifestyle seems sort of attractive at first, but there's a hefty price to pay when you sell your soul to the devil, which is what Keanu Reeves is in the process of doing. So his wife kills himself, Charlize Theron is dead, and he's like, I need to fucking confront Al Pacino on this. So he goes up to Al Pacino's office, and there's this big, impossibly large stone tablet behind him, like, that never would have gotten in this office. They would have had to remove the entire side of a building to get a stone statue that looks like this into the building. So, they start having this conversation, and this is where Al Pacino reveals all of his intentions. And while he's doing this, the stone tablet is coming to life, and there's this, like, apocalyptic hell orgy happening in stone behind him. And Keanu Reeves is like, what are you? And he's like, I'm the devil, and I'm going to, this is the birth of a new age, and you're a part of it. It turns out that, Keanu Reeves is Al Pacino's half-son. Wait, can you be someone's half-son? No, he's Al Pacino's actual son. So, because, like, I guess Al Pacino, a long time ago, banged his mom, which was, like, some church lady that you only see in the beginning. So, it turns out Al Pacino's his dad, and he's like, the reason he got Keanu Reeves involved in this whole thing in the first place is he needs Keanu Reeves' sperm to make the Antichrist. So the fucking hot curly hair chick comes out, and he's like, you need to bang her. She's also your sister, it turns out. And Keanu Reeves is like, oh, so incest makes the Antichrist. I guess fucking Alabama's full of Antichrists. But, so he, like, starts banging his sister, or he's going to try to bang his sister. This is really weird. He's trying to bang his sister, or he's about to, and Al Pacino's like this, and he's like touching him and being all fucking Al Pacino-y. The whole end scene, Al Pacino talking and railing against God, is like the most Al Pacino has ever been. It's actually really awesome. And if you haven't watched this movie, you probably should just see it, or just fucking Google his whole speech. Like, it's awesome. So Al Pacino is like, getting into it, and he's like, it's finally gonna happen. We're gonna give birth to the Antichrist, and 1,000 years of darkness will happen. I'm giving up on doing Al Pacino impressions, by the way. 1,000 years of darkness will happen, and everything will be grand for me. And Keanu, you'll be sit here and you'll be like a fucking prince of hell, But Keanu Reeves, this is his last moment to redeem himself. He's like, wait a minute, I have free will, right? And Al Pacino's like, yeah. I guess I still will do an Al Pacino impression. Al Pacino's like, yes, you do. So Keanu Reeves pulls out a gun, and he's like, fuck you, Dad. And he blows his brains out. And as he's falling, Al Pacino's like, no! And this fire explodes behind him, and all the orgy on the stone gets all fucked up. And the girl who he was banging, like, goes, ah! And she falls over, and she turns into this, like, skeleton mummy, like it's fucking Pompeii or something. And he blows his fucking brains out, and the devil's plans are thwarted, and now he's got to wait, like, 500 years or something before he can try and do it again, because heaven has, in the afterlife, has crazy rules about this. So, you think it's over? No, it's not over. Keanu Reeves transports back to the first scene in the movie where he's defending this, pervert guy. And this was the crux. This was the moment when he first compromised himself as a lawyer and as a human being. So he knows that this guy's a molester now. Because it turned out when he was in New York, you find out the fucking molester guy, 2-3 weeks after the trial, kills a girl because he was totally guilty. And when Keanu Reeves got him off, he gave him, the opportunity to strike again. So now we're back in that first scene. He can stop all that from happening. He can stop Charlize Theron from dying. She's alive. She's got her curly blonde hair back again instead of her dark hair. So he goes, I can't work on this trial anymore. And it's this big upset, and you get the sense that he's not going to be a lawyer. He's going to fucking stop, and life is going to go on, and they can not make the Antichrist, and things will be good. So he's going to take a leak. Because, most scenes about Satan end in a public men's room, which is, how this movie ends. And so he's going to take a leak, and this reporter guy comes up to him, and he's like, hey, Keanu Reeves, we need to do a story on you. And he's like, I'm not interested in things like that. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're a lawyer with a conscience. The public's going to eat this up. You're going to be the next biggest thing. Keanu Reeves is like, all right, man, just call me or something. So, he leaves. Focus is still on this reporter guy. Reporter guy's head morphs into Al Pacino's head. And he's not going to let Keanu go so easy. He's going to keep trying because, Satan takes many forms. In this form, he's a lawyer. And he looks at the camera and he goes, vanity, definitely my favorite sin. Fucking Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones, because I'm assuming that's how this movie ends. And fucking, that's it. We all, we all learned a little bit about ourselves.